Okay, the results are in. So days ago, I put on a poll on an app called Poll for All, for which WCW slash NWA pay-per-view you want me to review, and the winner is WCW Spring Stampede 1994. Enjoy the review, folks. What's up, my Central Units? It's the Central Man here, so back again with another WCW pay-per-view review. So this time I'm going to review the very first Spring Stampede pay-per-view from 1994 at the Rosemont Horizon, right next to the All-State Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, or Chicago, Illinois, on the 17th of April 1994. The attendance of the show was 12,200. The first Spring Stampede pay-per-view received about 115,000 pay-per-view buys. The commentators for the show are Tony Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan. This show is considered to be the greatest WCW pay-per-view of all time, or any era of WCW, whether it's in the pre-Monday Night War era or during the Monday Night War era. Yeah, it's considered to be the best WCW they've ever done. 94, 95 was kind of like a transformational period for the company, because they had the homegrown talent. Some of the homegrown talents end up leaving the company or even retired due to injuries. It's a bit of a side note. And this show name dropped Hulk Hogan because he was signing with WCW, already signed, and you won't see Hogan until the first Bash of the Beach pay per view from, I think it was July. They mostly do their July is that Bash of the Beach show. So go and check out my review of Bash of the Beach 1994 in the WCW slash NWA pay per view review playlist. Anyway, so yeah, this is a transformational period for WCW at the time. Homegrown talents, leaving the company, due to backstage politics, injuries, and also some of these wrestlers end up, cut their careers short due to injury. Anyway, so the first match to kick off the first Spring Stampede pay-per-view, we got Diamond Dallas Page with Kimberly. The Diamond Doll taking on Johnny B. Bad. Wow. I cover a lot of Johnny B. Bad DDP matches. Whether it's wrestling Nitros and pay-per-views of 1995 and once in 96 before Johnny B. Bad, aka Mark Merrill, left the company before going to the WWF. Johnny B. Bad and DDP, they really had some good chemistry. I really enjoyed their matches. This match was good. It was short. I looked it up on Wikipedia. I think it was like about 5 minutes. But they told a great story in the ring. One more of the match for me. I think DDP was going for I think it was a Dragon Sleeper, and Johnny B. Bad kind of countered into a kind of like a half sliced bread and a cutter combo. I have to say, it's hard to call it that. Anyway, trying to keep it short and simple, folks. In the end, Johnny B. Bad rolled. I think he hit DDP with a sunflip roll up off the top rope for the win. So it's just, and also he said he wants to challenge the United States champion at Slamboree. That's another topic for another time. I think it's the first of. I wrote it down, folks. The matches in the card. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4 championship matches on the show. So the first championship match of the show. This is for the WCW Television Championship. We had Lord Steven Regal. That's William Regal in our current timeline with Jeeves. I think he's called Jeeves. He's wearing the bowler hat and the suit. He defends the TV title against Flying Brian Pillman. They had a rematch not too long ago. That was ended in a disqualification. You had I think Regal hit got himself disqualified. Hit Pillman with I think it was a cane, and hit him with the power driver. Basically Regal refused Pillman to give him a rematch for the TV title. So he had no choice. He got yeah. They announced that Regal will defend the TV title against Pillman on this show. Yeah, drink before. So about this match before it's a bit dry. The match was really good. By the way, before we get to this rest of this match, so there was no bad matches in the show. No bad matches. They tend to be good to great matches. I'm gonna say again in my final rating of my review of Spring Stampede 1994. Anyway, so yeah, the match between Pillman and Regal for the TV title was good, really good. It was my nitpick about this is a bit slow. You know, a lot of rest holds. It really make me bored of some of these matches. I get it's the times. You know, right now it could be people. Some people in some complain about the dips and flips in today's wrestling. I don't want to get into it, but I get it's the times. So Pillman is the high flyer. Regal is the technical worker. Ring mat worker. The match, I think like Pillman did like some high fly spot. I don't think he did a single high fly spot in this match in my knowledge. But yeah, he hit Regal with a drop kick. But most of the time, Regal's just basically. I think that every time Pillman was there's one spot like Pillman was going for like a monkey flip, but Regal countered it. Try to keep it short and simple. In the end, I think the match ended in a time limit draw. Yeah, it was a disappointed, but anyway, I'm not saying this. Oh, this was bad, but reality, it was good. Really good match. They got a good time. I think my nitpick. I think keep saying Hogan. Pillman kind of like hold back. I'm not doing the high moves. That's his nickname. Flying Brian Pillman in WCW before. This is before he was doing the whole loose cannon persona. That'll be like in 95, 96. Anyway, so yeah, it was a good match. So moving on to the next match. So the next match, this is a Chicago street fight. We got the Nasty Boys. That is Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags. I think at the time they were the reigning defending WCW Tag Team Champions. This is a non-title match. They taken on Cactus Jack and Max Payne, not the Max Payne you see in movies. I don't know who he is. Why they call him Max Payne? How he's never got a law. WCW got the lawsuit. I don't know. He didn't really look like Max Payne, this character. But anyway, so I done my research that Cactus Jack. By the way, Cactus Jack is Mick Foley and Payne were basically feuding with the Nasty Boys. I think it was over the tag team titles for months now. They fought at Super Bowl 4 in February, the previous pay-per-view. The match between this match, in the Chicago street fight between the Nasty Boys and Cactus Jack and Max Payne, it was good. It was the fun match. It's funny that they were fighting on a fake merchandise stand. It was an ugly brawl, but I don't say it was a bad match. I thought it was boring. Some parts were boring, but I watched it again. Maybe I was wrong. It wasn't fantastic. It was it wasn't bad. I didn't. I changed my mind about being boring. It was a bit boring, but I think it was a fun hardcore match. There's one botch, funny botch. It wasn't a terrible shitty botch. It was a funny botch. I think it was one of the Nasty Boys, or I think it was Max Payne or Nasty Boy. I think it's Jerry Sags. I think I think it was Max Payne or Cactus Jack. One of them trying to like power drive. I think it was one of the Nasty. I think it was Barry. It's got to be Brian Knobbs. I think it was not Brian Knobbs. Jerry Sags is one with the dark head, by the way. I think it was Jerry Sags. I think he's trying to like power drive Cactus Jack or Max Payne through a table, but the table broken. Anyway, that was kind of funny. I think that like one throw Cactus Jack off the ramp. They used to I think DDT. Cactus Jack DDT. I think it was Brian Knobbs. Cactus Jack was fighting Brian Knobbs in this match, and Payne was fighting Jerry Sags. Anyway, so in the end, the Nasty Boys got the victory. I think it was one of them hit Cactus Jack with a shuffle. They were fighting with canes and chairs and shuffles. It's just one of his. I'm not saying it's a fantastic brawl, but it was a fun brawl for what it is. The drink. Move on to the next match. So the next match is for the WCW United States Championship. We got Stunning Steve Austin, the future Stone Cold Steve Austin, with Colonel Robert Parker in his corner. I think at the time, I might be wrong about this. Don't quote me on this. I'm guessing Austin was part of the Stud Stable. Austin defended the United States title against the Great Muta. The announcers brought up that Austin won the United States title from Dustin Rhodes. I get it. Dustin Rhodes is the son of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. They're both like. I wish it's the damn shame they never made Dustin Rhodes as Dusty Rhodes Jr., but I don't think so. But anyway, so yeah, Austin defeat Rhodes for the United States title. I think it was at you bring up that Austin won the title at Starrcade the previous year in '93. So the match this was good. I really liked this match. Between Austin and Great Muta, it was back and forth. Some parts was boring. I get it's the times. I don't want to talk about it, but it's just what it is. Go with the flow. It was good. It was back and forth between both Austin and Muta, but the ending was bullshit. So basically, Muta kind of like thrown Austin off the top rope. That led to a disqualification, and yeah, Austin retained the United States title via the disqualification. Because at this moment in time, if you throw someone over the top rope, that's an automatically DQ. That's a no-no. Why they did it? Why? I don't get it. That was stupid. I glad they stopped doing it, for the change. Now it's a stupid rule. Like, hey, if you throw someone over the top rope, that's an automatic DQ. So, what the hell? So, it was starting to be a good match. I think they were cheering for Muta. I feel like maybe I don't know. He was a heel. Basically they're building out like he's the heel foreigner. He's gonna take the United States title back to his homeland. But I think the fans were really get behind Muta. They're basically heel versus heel. Fans were booing Austin normally because Austin is, at this moment in time, the Stone and Steve character is very underrated. But yeah, he was getting cheered. But yeah, it was like I said, good match with a crappy ending. So so yeah, the next match. This is for the WCW International World Title. We got Ravishing Rick Rude defending the title against Sting. So they've been feuding since 1992. I think it was late 91, early 92 for the United States title. This was during the feud between Sting and the Dangerous Alliance. At this moment in time, the Dangerous Alliance are officially no more. Heyman left the company, gone to ECW. So at Super Brawl, not previous month, but the previous pay-per-view, I think it was in February. Maybe it's in March, but I think it's February, because at the time WCW's pay-per-view's schedule was a bit shortened. They're going to expand their schedule. I think it was the following year. Anyway, so yeah, Super Bowl 4, they had a 6-man tag team match. In the end, Rude hit Sting with the Rude Awakening, and then they had the contract signing, and then Rude hit Sting with a Rude Awakening on the world title belt. So Rude was about to do his shtick, and then you got Holly Race, a 7-time world champion. Anyway, he was at the time managing Vader, came out announcing that Vader would face the winner of this match. So the match between Sting and Rude for the international title, because at this moment in time they were doing the whole 2 world title experiment. They're basically predecessors what WWE. Sorry, stumbling by the way, a bit of a tongue twisting moment. They were a predecessor to what WWE were doing in the first brand split and the second brand split currently, with doing the whole 2 world titles bit. So, and I think at the time, because WCW split with the NWA, and they were doing, they're doing their shows in the Disney studios. I think it was in Florida. So most of the shows were taped. So And also, I done my research that Rude had a lengthy run with the world title. I think he won the world title at Fallbro in '93, and then he dropped the world title briefly in Japan against Hiroshi Hase, and then Rude won the title back. So this is his second run as the international world champion. Yeah, the match between Rude and Sting for the international title was good. Back and forth. Harley Race got involved. Yeah, there was a referee bump. Sting hit the Stinger splash on both on Rude and the referee. I think it was Randy Anderson. Yeah, you got interference by Harley Race. Try to keep it short and simple, folks. In the end, Rude is about to hit Sting with the Rude Awakening, and then Harley Race clocks Rick Rude in the head with the chair. Sting pins Rude to win this match and become the new international champion. And then after this is later minutes. This is later after the show. Really, a segment after minutes later on the show. I'm trying to say. So I'm still, my throat's a bit dry. God, sorry, it was a bit of a tongue twisting moment. Later on in the show, you had Vader and Rude kind of brawl. So this was set up a rematch in a show in Japan. I think it's called the Wrestling Dontaku. Um, you're not gonna find it. You're not gonna find Sting and Rude's match in Japan. You have to probably on the network. You probably find it in on YouTube. So Sting and Rude had the rematch for the international title in Japan at the Wrestling Dontaku, not Dontaku. Um, because at this moment in time, WCW was in a working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and this is not recognized. So basically, Rude regained the world title. He became a three-time international world champion. Unfortunately, like I said, it's not recognized. They say Rude, they reverse the decision because Rude used the world title as a weapon. Maybe I think he hit Sting with a Rude Awakening. But in reality, he suffered a back injury in that match in Japan. Sting took I think it was a suicide dive or a patented dive onto Rude. Rude kind of injured his lower back. I think it was some kind of some curved platform. So, I think they were going for a Vader Rude rivalry down the road. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So at Slamboree the following month, Sting and Vader fought for the vacant international world title. Sting win that match, became a two-time international world champion. Then he hold the belt until dropping the international title to Ric Flair, and Flair would become the last champion before they dropped the whole two world title experiment. And as for Rick Rude, Rude ended up have a early career. It's really a shame. And he came back. He came back to the business in 1997. He was kind of like a manager slash personality in his run in ECW. Then in his return to the WWF. He was one of the founding fathers of D Generation X with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, China. Then back in WCW before his timely death in 1999. Everyone knows the story that Rude was preparing for his comeback, but he never got that comeback. So it's a shame. It's a damn shame. Wish he trained for his comeback sooner rather than later, like in '97 instead of '99. Has to do with timing. It's a shame that in WCW WWF never really give him a chance. Yeah, he was briefly in the world title picture with the Ultimate Warrior in 1990, but they never. Yeah, he was a mid card champion, but not a world champion. But in WCW, they give him a chance because he left the WWF on very bad terms. Because he left the days before Survivor Series 1990 due to pay dispute. He went to WCW, play a massive part in the Danger Alliance, and then he became the international world champion. The button he had a dominant run with the belt. Become a two-time champion, technically three, but I don't want to get into it. Yeah, they give him a chance. It's a shame that he never was in the main event that long. He was 35, still young. His career kind of like end on a anticlimactic way. If they had the internet, like 28 years ago, I think people will crap on Sting for injuring Rick Rude, but it was an accident. It's just injury happens. Whatever sport. But yeah, it's a shame that they put the eggs in the Rick Rude basket. As one of the world champions. Would he be? I think it could be WCW world champion. Like, it's a shame, but it's a damn shame. It's a really damn shame. He never been world champion in WWF, slash WWE, but at least he's world champion. At least he was a world champion in his career. His accolade. United IC champion, United States champion, world champion. Don't know he was TV champion. It's a shame. So what might have been? It's just one is what might have been. Is he gonna? Yeah, what might have been? Is he like give him a chance to be world champion much longer? Don't know, but yeah, it's unlucky. Like his career ended in an anticlimactic way at the age of 35. His back injury led to his death in 1999. He died of a drug. I think he died of a drug overdose. I think it was performance enhancing drugs in his system. Yeah, I think it was a heart failure. He died. Anyway, so enough of my rambling about Rick Rude. Moving on to the next match. Otherwise, it'd be a very long review of Spring Stampede '94. So the next match, we got a bunkhouse match. I think it's called a bunkhouse match. It's called. We got Dustin Rhodes taking on Bunkhouse Buck. This was good. This was fun. A fun brawl. Two guys beating the piss out of each other. I think they're like whipping and hitting each other with belts. I think Rhodes was bleeding. Bunkhouse Buck was bleeding. I think like I said, I think they were still doing the whole stable. What was it? The stud stable. It's called. I might be wrong. Don't quote me. So I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Yeah, Robert Park got involved. He got involved in the yeah, the Austin Muta match. He was choking the Great Muta. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. He did it once or twice in those two matches. So in the end, he gave Bunkhouse Buck I think it was a brass knuckles and hit Dustin Rhodes with the head with the brass knuckles to win this match. I was shocked. I thought like Dustin Rhodes would win, but I was wrong. I don't know. He didn't really do anything in WCW. Bunkhouse Buck. I think he teamed up with Dirty Dick Slater, and then he was left the company. I don't know what year he left the company. Was it 95, 96? I'm not too sure. So like I said, fun match to watch. So the next match we got Vader taking on the Boss. The Boss is the big boss man. I'll get to his gimmick shortly after this match. So at the main event of Super Bowl 4, you had you had the Boss was the special guest referee in the Thunder Cage steel cage match. Thunder Cage steel cage match. I'll call him Thunder Cage. It's getting really confusing. So he got involved. He was the special guest referee of the Thunder Cage match between Ric Flair and Vader. Vader, handcuff the Boss, and then the Boss cast Vader the world title against Ric Flair. So this set up this match on the show. Match was good. Wasn't terrible. It was decent. I really enjoyed this match. Vader was bleeding. He bled in his match. I don't know. It was not too long. Maybe it was years prior because he ended up He ended up losing an eye. Injured his eye in a match with Stan Hansen in Japan. I don't know. It's this in 1994. Maybe it's a year after or the year prior or years ago. I don't know. The Boss ended up kicking out of two Vader bombs. I think he did hit him with I think it was a choke slam off the top rope, and then he hit the Big Boss. Hit Vader with the tornado DDT. Trying to keep it short and simple. In the end, hit I think he kicked out the Boss kicked out two Vader bombs by Vader. In the end, Vader hit the moonsault onto the Boss for the win, And then afterwards, the boss hit Holly Race and Vader with the nightstick. That led up to, there was a segment after this. You had Nick Botwickle, who at the time was a kayfabe commissioner of WCW. He basically he basically forced the boss to hand in his nightstick, his badge, his handcuffs, because in reality, um, WCW was got friend. They got friend. Basically, WWF was friend to sue WCW because of his gimmick. Because the boss is similar of his gimmick in the WWF. You know, the boss is the former known as the Big Boss Man. I think they did it recently, not recently, but they did it with the Comfort, the nails. You know, he did the same gimmick what he did in WCW, but WWF friend WCW with the same gimmick. You know, the wrestlers with the same gimmick in those companies. So anyway, the boss will become the Guardian Angel and Big Bubba Rogers. That will be his previous gimmick in his first run in the company in the mid 80s before going to the World Wrestling Federation in the later on in the 80s. Late he joined late 80s, like 88 or something, 87, 88. And also he became Ray Trailer, you know, in his final few years in his run in WCW before going back to the WWF as the Big Boss Man in 1998. So, and like I said, Vader went on to face Sting for the world title at Slamboree. So moving on to the main event. The main event we got, and this is for the WCW World Title. Like I said, in the middle of the two World Title experiments. Ric Flair at the time was the WCW World Champion, defending the belt against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Fun trivia: this show, the Roseman Horizon, is the same show they host Chi Town Rumble. This was a show way back in 1989. Flair and Steamboat main event that show. The actually the NWA World Title. Sorry, there was a remote. Put a fucking clock. There was an alarm, folks. Anyway, so I'm gonna say it again. So like I said, this is the same show. This is the same arena that hosts Chi-Town Rumble from 1989. Flair and Rude stole the show in the main event of Chi-Town Rumble. Steamboat won the NWA World Title at the time because at the time, WCW, it was used to be called the NWA / Jim Crockett Promotion. So at this moment in time, you could tell that they were babyface. Steamboat was the babyface. Ric Flair was the babyface, but Flair was a tweener because of the lifestyles. Ric Flair's he lives the playboy lifestyle. His limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, son of the gun. And and Ricky Steamboat is the family man. Like I said, this is before Hulk Hogan went to WCW. He was signed with the company. He went on to do the parade. Near Disneyland or some shit like that. Anyway, so the match between Flair and Steamboat, good match, but here's the nitpick for me: it was a bit boring. They work in a slow pace. I know it's the times, don't get me wrong, but I wish they cut this match in half. It was 32 minutes on Wikipedia. 32 minutes. It was half an hour. It was a bit boring in my opinion. I wish they cut 10 or not 20 minutes, but I wish they cut it like in half in my opinion. But that's just me. But they told a great story in the ring. You had one more other match. You had basically had a Steamboat locking Flair with the figure 4 leg lock. Steamboat was going for like a crossbody or some kind of move off the top rope. Flair got out of the way. Steamboat injured his leg, and then Flair locked in the figure 4 leg lock. I'm guessing he reached the ropes. It was a really good match, back and forth. The fans really got into it. This is match of the night. Like I said, my nitpick is the match went too long in my opinion, but back and forth between Flair and Steamboat. The ending was a bit dirty. It's not necessary why they did that. So basically, Steamboat was going for a submission hold. It's the same submission hold he made Flair tap out at Chi-Town Rumble 5 years earlier when he won the NWA World Title. But instead of making Flair tap out again, he kind of turned into a suplex pin. I thought Steamboat won this match. You know, he went 2-0 against Ric Flair in Chicago, but instead, um, I found on Wikipedia that it was a double pin. Steamboat's shoulders also was down, so and yeah, they went on to end up doing a rematch on an episode. I think it was on Saturday Night Main Event. So Flair won the rematch. Flair went on to face Hogan as a heel at the first Bash of the Beach pay per view that year. That I think was in July. Steamboat went on to have a program with Sterling Steve Austin for the United States title that same summer. I think it was at the Clash of the Champions show that Steamboat went on to injure his back and also went on to have an early retirement. So yeah, this was his. I think this is technically his final pay per view match. I might be wrong. Maybe he fought at Slamboree. That's another topic for another time. But this was the end of Ricky Steamboat's time at the top. Like I said, I think it's his last world title match, and then he went on to be, like I said, feuding with Austin for the United States title. Then he suffered a back injury, like I said, led up to an early retirement. He won't wrestle again until the year 2009. 15 years later, in a feud with Chris Jericho, the handicap match at WrestleMania 25, and then he went on to face Jericho at Backlash. I think the difference between, it's very sad that both Rude and Steamboat's career ended in a anticlimactic way. The back injuries. I don't know. It's lower back, middle back, upper back. It was a back injury, but yeah, it's a shame that Rick Rude never got like a comeback. He never trained for his comeback. Never like come back in the ring. Like I said, TV personality. Yeah, he was a manager / TV personality in WCW, WWF, and WCW before he died in 1999. But at least with Steamboat, he got his final send off. He got his closure. Against Chris Jericho. 15 years later. But it's just what it is. But at least Steamboat got his redemption instead of Rude. But anyway, so yeah, my final rating for the first Spring Stampede pay-per-view from the year 1994, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. When people say this is one of the best WCW pay-per-views of all time, believe them. There is no terrible matches on the show, no okay matches on the show. They're just basically good to great matches on the show. Top to bottom, to the opener match, to the main event, it was a really good match. DDP versus Johnny B. Bad, the TV title match, the Chicago Street Fight, Austin and Muta. Yeah, the ending was a bit dirty, with the DQ finish, over the top rope DQ finish, but still a good match. Sting versus Ruth for the international title, the bunkhouse match between Bunkhouse Buck and Dustin Rhodes, sorry, my bad. The Fader boss match was fun, and also the main event was an all-time classic. So, yeah, I give the show a 2 thumbs up. If you got this on the network, I suggest watching Spring Stampede 1994. So, I hope you enjoyed my review of WCW Spring Stampede 1994. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button, click the bell, click the like. Subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, so yeah, like I mentioned that poll, the winner on that poll, on Poll for All I did, was Spring Stampede 94. The runners up, with 50% was NWA Wrestle War 1989. So let's review the runners up. That is NWA Wrestle War 1989, the first Wrestle War in NWA/WCW history. So this is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.